How about now? Audio? How about now? Sound? Hello? Okay, we have sound. Yes. All right. Sorry about that. There's a button I have to click, and I didn't click that. So let me begin. I'll start all over again. And I apologize for that. So let me just get right back into it. So I'm going to get rid of this. And as I was stating earlier, you need to be very comfortable with what you own right now. If you're not, you need to consider getting out of it. You need to be focused on large cap names, very large cap names. I'd be remiss to tell you that tell anybody at this point, you need to avoid small cap. They are going to absolutely hammer small cap names. One of the dumbest things that the IWM has done, and let me just pull this down for a moment. One of the things that the IWM has done is add like these names to their to them. They changed all these names up. And since they've changed these names, they've just absolutely destroyed this index. So this is setting up to break, and it's going to add some pressure on this IWM down to probably 211. I think that's very clear to avoid small caps. So that's the first thing I'm just going to start with. Second, that I wanted to mention, and I apologize for going through this again, but I'm going to do it since there was no sound. I don't like wasting people's time. But here we are. Look. See, you had this downtrend, and then you broke this downtrend, and then you failed, and you basically essentially had a bearish engulfing. Then you came back down, then you attempted to get through it again, then you failed, then you got through it, and now you're pushing. This is exactly what you want to see. See how it all took place right at this gap, right? This is exactly what you're looking for, right? When you're trying to put a trade on. The issue is that you're doing it when the NASDAQ is near the top of its market, and you're also doing it before earnings. So if we look at how this is done during earnings, it's a crapshoot, right? I mean, this one we gapped down 50 points. Okay. This one you gapped up 50 points. This one you gapped down 50 points. So it's basically putting money on roulette, black or red. And if you don't have an edge and you're not in it enough from, like, let's say you bought it here and we're fortunate enough, do you really want to hold this in the earnings? And the answer is probably no. So, because you just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they've increased or not. Nobody does on this upside. I will say this: them adding gaming when they have hundreds of millions of people that use their programs and their apps is staggering. The amount of money that they could make off of gaming. Gaming is huge money, absolutely huge. So just consider that. But so I like that. So that's my little rant, and I'm going to just start jumping in the names. Good morning, CPNG and NEE. You got it, 77. CPNG. So you're having trouble with this level, right? We would keep talking about this level. Boom, boom, boom. The one thing that I will say about this that I am watching, and I believe this is South Korean based, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have time to look it up. 4460. See this level? See how you're popping your head over it? You need to close over that. I do like this ascending. I do have like they're walking up. The sellers are drying up, right? When you see ascension like this, the sellers are drying up. They're saying, I refuse to sell at these levels. That's why it's not there, right? Just think like that a little bit. It's very helpful to think like that. And NEE. So NEE right here. So yeah, you got to watch this level right there. Just watch that. Be very careful. It's got to get through that, and it's having trouble with it. And this red bar is in charge. See this red bar on the breakdown? That's in charge. So just be really careful there. I would not be rushing into that for sure. I'd be taking my time. So let's just keep going here. What do we got? Hey, Dan. PEP, you got it, Nicholas. And then HUT. Hut's a Bitcoin miner, right? PEP. Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, it's very interesting. Very quietly, you're seeing these kinds of companies just start to do this, and it's good. Here, look at this on the weekly. I was looking at some of these conglomerates on the weekly, but look at this. Like you're flipping a weekly channel. Hold on, I can draw that better. You're flipping a weekly channel. Like, I mean, it doesn't get any cleaner than that. Like that's what you're waiting for. It's what you're looking for, right? And now when you get through that, what you're really looking for is where's the next channel that we could get to. And that's up here. So this has about 10, 15 points of room. I like PEP a lot. I really do. Hut, Walmart, pins. All right, so let's look at Hut. Yeah, I would avoid this. I mean, this is very clearly, it's got an issue. This is the weekly. I'm going to get you to a daily. So yeah, I mean, you see how you tried to get up through this level? Look, let's get rid of these indicators for a minute on Hut. See this 515 level? See how you tried to break out here and then failed, right? You see how that level just kind of coincides with what's going on right here? Okay. Right. So, and now also take into account here, what do we have? Right? There's all little signals all over the place if you look for them. Okay, so we broke the rising channel. If you break that rising channel, you're going to $3. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Look, let's just go through this, just so we're all on the same page. Okay, this has major issues, like major issues. I know that everyone out there is still trying to be involved with this. I'm going to just get rid of this for a minute and just clean all this up. I'm not saying that this is going to zero. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this chart, this has major issues. So if this doesn't work, the Bitcoin stocks are not going to remotely work. If you want to be involved in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. But I would strongly recommend that you hold off right now. To me, this looks like it's setting up from here to here on a break. So you could be looking about, retesting that 20,000 level. So just be aware of that. Like, don't rush into that. So Walmart and pins, ASML. I want to do ASML. I really like this name. This is breaking out. And this is that's what we got way too much going on here. Let's get rid of all that. Let's get rid of the fibs. All right. So this is your channel. Okay. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this and talking about how dominant NVIDIA is, but none of that exists without ASML, right? Like none of it does. So, and we don't have to get into the whole lesson on semiconductors here. But hold on one second. Let me move this. So let's just go through this and take a look. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing like a breakout to this level, right? And now you're going to see this go up to there. I think that could happen. Semis don't really work without this. So just keep that in mind. I really like the idea. Let me get to pins and Walmart before my ADD kicks in and I forget. We did pins and we did a trade on pins. We made $9 on it, and then we got out of the way. Our buy price was $69.75. This is, I'm just going to stress this to people, right? Whether you're in the community or just follow me on YouTube, I don't really care for this conversation. My goal is to try to get in front of as many people as possible. But like, look, right? When you break something, and our stop was up here, right? It was a reversal of filling in this gap, right? When we started to do that, that was enough. But you see how you have this line right here? See how it just happens to fit here? Like, I'm not the only one looking at this. Every professional trader or sitting on an institutional desk is looking at the same thing. So if we're all looking at the same thing and we're all going to act on the same thing on the institutional side, who's got the majority of the money, what do you think is going to happen when we get to some of these levels? They're going to have a reaction. Now, whether that reaction is long lasting or short lasting, you don't know. But now you filled the gap back in. So now what do you do? Well, that's a really interesting question, right? So let's get rid of all this text because that's irrelevant. Let's throw in these indicators and let's just go through something here. Okay. So what I would do if I saw something like this is I would overlay volume by price and I would overlay stochastics. Okay. Well, RSI. So RSI is clearly telling me, GTFO, stay out of the way, right? So there's no need to be in that. Now let's get rid of this segment line and let's get rid of all these other lines. And let's just look at what this is telling me. This is the single greatest volume that I have. Okay. That's what the point of control is. The single greatest volume. I sliced through it, right? So if I'm slicing through that, that means I'm going to the 50 and the 200 next, which puts me at 68, which means I need to avoid it. I have the 8 and the 21 crossing up here. So that gives you a synopsis to say, hey, is it going to hold that level or not hold that level? To me right now, this is definitely not going to hold that level. Technically, if you want to get uber technical, once you break this, right, you can actually head back down to $54. So that is a possibility. And then you're just range bound. So I would avoid this. And Walmart, I was asked a couple times before I get into another one. So let's just do it. Walmart's the exact kind of stock that you could actually see running through here. This is actually, let's get rid of these. You could actually see this working here. Let's remove all these segment lines and just look, right? Let's pull this down. You have to get through 142.50. You have this now, okay? Get through 142.58, 143, and you'll probably see action in this name. But, getting through that level, and it would probably, if you break the wedge, right, your first point is always the top of the wedge, just to kind of give you an understanding of what we're looking for, right? So you're looking at 153. You're not looking for a huge move, but there's a move there. So next. Oh, I agree with the statement. Yeah. I mean, GME just completely could have changed everything and offered a gaming streaming service. I mean, they could have. It just shows how inept that company is. I mean, they had literally billions of dollars at their disposal to create a gaming situation, and they didn't do it. Sassy, you're dead on. Like you're just dead on. Hey, Raphael, CPLG. So CPLG, Core Point Lodging. Wow, that's a really solid move. I'm not sure why it did that, but I was not aware of this. So sometimes it helps to look at different time frames. So what looks so great on a daily, right, might not, and you might not be able to explain why you have this wick. Sometimes when you look at a weekly, you get a different opinion, right? So we can kind of see right here why we're stopping here. I'm just going to make this a little clearer. See this level right here? Right? Where did you stop? Right on that red bar. Right at the top of this red bar, you stopped. So it's very clear where your level is that you have to get through, right? I mean, you could even just give it a little more room. I would want to see 14.25 before I touch this. But if I get through this, I guarantee if I overlay, look, watch this. If I overlay this with it, watch, let me see if it will do a volume. Yeah. So overlaying this, look where the point of control is and look where the VWAP is. Look how there's no volume up here. I have a vacuum. So getting through that level, we just talked about 14.25, and this could run back up to those levels that we were talking about. Let me close this down and pull it. But you could get back to these levels. There's nothing in here to stop you. So that's what I would look for in CPLG. So CVS looks great. So yeah, HUT, I would avoid HUT. No, Dan, I think that you've missed that. I mean, by the time they're talking about inflation, that trade's over. And that's what you're seeing. Like this was the inflation trade, right? When they're printing money, that's the inflation trade, right? When everybody knows that they're going to print money, it's not the inflation trade. It's like what you have to realize is this market will correct to whatever it's going to correct before they even raise interest rates, right? It's 18 months out is usually how it works. So I'm in no hurry here when people are saying, oh, they're going to raise rates, so I better get out of the stock market before they raise rates. Go look at the times when they're raising rates and what the stock market's doing. It's actually going up on average. So yeah, I wish we could look at it. Well, we can look at a used car price chart. That's kind of funny. We can look at a used car price chart. Here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. Here's a used car price chart. Carvana, right? I mean, their inventory just happens to go up 50% in value. So, I mean, they're kind of a no brainer. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen this one move yet. It's just not getting involved in that at all. But some of the others they're on fire. I mean, they are just on absolute fire. And like even this AN, I'm just waiting for this to break. And when it does, this is a weekly chart, but I'm just waiting for that to break. And then, I'm going to be looking at this one pretty closely. I think that if this breaks, there's a huge channel here. I like that trade a lot, but it's funny. I agree with you. So AMD, I'm going to do CELH. I really want to do. So AMD. So let's get rid of this and let's get rid of all this. Okay, so this should be doing a lot better than it is. And I'm just going to get rid of all this for now. Let's get rid of everything. And let's just look at the price. And let's just zoom out. And now let's just throw in a simple range bound and see where that gets us. So if you throw in the simple range bound, look what happened, right? We got over that 94.5. Everybody thought it was going to go. This is exactly what AMD does. It lures us all in with a false sense of hope. And then they pull the rug out, and it's constant, right? You literally have to buy the stock when nobody wants to own it, which is down here, and sell it when everybody wants to own it, which is up here. I mean, that's how it trades. It does not trade like a momentum name at all. And frankly, the biggest moves on this, if you ever really look at this, the biggest moves on this are just earnings, right? Other than that, it doesn't really do a lot, right? It really doesn't. It's really on the earnings moves. So you have another one coming up. Their earnings should be through the roof. It was explained to me that people are actually buying more AMD chips, like combining AMD chips to do what one NVIDIA chip can do. So that was kind of interesting. So I would expect demand to be through the roof with this, but this is something that it's just, I would hold off until this figures it out. To me, it's heading back down, which is odd considering how hot semis are. So CELH, I was somewhat disappointed with. I mean, there's no harm in saying it now. On the newsletter, I actually put a buyout on it, and I'll walk through that very quickly because of what I saw in a pattern. So the pattern that I saw that I was very interested in and kept waiting for them to break is here. Okay, so I broke through that, and then I pulled back. Well, I just kind of went on the assumption that this was a failed breakout, but that we would at least hold this level in here. Right? We would at least hold this, right? So my point was, all right, I'll use a 70 stop because I'm not going to break this bull flag. I'm just going to have to base before I go back up again, right? Because this looked to me like we traded and then we're coming back down. And then we're going to break this trade and head back to this level. That's not what happened. And that's why it's so important to have stops. So I even tried to day trade it yesterday and that didn't work. So the question is, what do you do now? Well, this is your trend line. And the reason I'm saying that is because people need to understand that, I've been doing this for a very long time. Everybody gets stopped out and everybody takes losses. And anyone that's telling you that they don't, stop listening to, because it's just not accurate. So, but you see this trend line here? See how you popped over it, right? Like, look at this. Like we popped over it. Like it was great, right? Everything was going to be awesome. Pulled back, broke that low, and that was enough. I mean, that was really it, right? And then when we broke 68, for me, frankly, that was really it. But you're trying to catch a falling knife now. Like this is day one of this move. Okay, this is it just starting its downward ascension is the best way that I can explain it. I'm at that 50-day. If I break this 50-day, I have a point of control. If I break the point of control, maybe I get to the VWAP. Right? So this can get a lot worse. This is extremely telling. Okay? This is extremely telling. Okay? How this came down. I was looking for it to reverse and break it up, but this is fitting exactly what's going on. So it's not really adding any value, but I was looking for it to break through there and then give me an indication that we were going to get through this higher and then, move the stop up and do the trade. It didn't work out that way. We took a loss, but just keep that in mind. Like this can get worse. This is day one, right? So I hope I'm clear on that. Not much is not working. There's 5 stocks that are working. This is really simple, Dan. To me, unless you're looking short term right now, you need to be in Apple, Microsoft, and even those could have a problem today. So, hey, good morning. So, I don't know if Roblox will benefit from that or not. I don't know if they'll benefit from that or they'll get hurt by it. I mean, it seems to me that they're going to get hurt by it, by the reaction yesterday, right? Like all of a sudden, someone's going to have a subscription to put their kids on. Like, think about that from a Netflix standpoint. You want to go after the kids. You want to tie them in when they're young. You go tell your kid, go play Call of Duty or whatever the heck they're playing today. That's what, we played or play, whatever. But you know where I'm going with it, right? Go get on Netflix. Go play games with your friends. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that like companies like RBLX are not going to benefit from that, but you might find that they need to be on Netflix's system, right? And that's going to be a revenue sharing thing. I'm not sure on all that. So just keep that in mind. People that are playing Twitch, they might need to be on there. So there's a whole thing that could happen with what Netflix is doing. It's an absolute brilliant move. So we'll be at it. Yeah, I like Walmart. I mean, I do. I see what you're looking at there. So let's just look at this one. What are we looking at here? SFT. You got it. So SFT, I've got 4 minutes, then I have to go here. I'll stay a little bit longer since I didn't have audio. You have a bearish engulfing pattern here on this flag, and I broke the 200-day avoid. This is just getting started, in my opinion. Watch this VWAP and watch this point of control. Now, sitting in cash right now, I was very clear on that. Well, I'm trying to be very clear on that. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting on cash. Like, look, this is not any big secret. Let me just show this, and I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. But I just want people to understand this. There's only a couple things working. This XLK technology is riding right against this line. Okay, just keep that in mind. So, yeah, SFT, I would avoid. Planter, hey, Ned, let's do it. Planter, I would really watch. This can get worse. If you break this level, you're heading to 17. You're below every single major moving average. Okay. And this is just falling off a cliff and rolling. And she's under attack again. Right. And I think what she's doing here, this is a trade we did before. And this is why it's so important to honor your stops, right? So that when you're in at 103 and it goes to 128, you don't give back half your gains. Let me drop that out of the way. But you have to understand something. They're the single largest shareholder of PLTR. If she's selling and reducing and getting outflows, she has to sell PLTR. She doesn't have a choice, right? So that's just the way that ETFs work. It's not optional. So that's going to add pressure to this. As it causes it to rise, it'll cause it to drop. See this rise and this drop? Okay. See this rise and this drop? They're identical. Okay. So that's why I always say to people, if you want to play Planter at this point, you're better off playing ARK, and at least you have diversification. So, I would be really careful there. So, but no, Ahmad, you're dead right. VRT, XLE, and RIG. VRT, now I would watch very closely here. See how these are starting to cross and roll? This is not what you want to own in this kind of market. See how my RSI is falling off a cliff? Look at my RSI. It's telling you that this is going to break. Your first stop is probably going to be 25, 29. It's not a huge drop, but I don't see this going higher. I'd let this work itself out. And that red bar yesterday didn't do you any favors. XLE, look, you have to realize that XLE went up. Like I keep showing this chart. Okay. And let's get rid of all these indicators. Okay. XLE broke out here, right, in March and took off. But you're starting to roll. And the important thing that I keep showing is this level. Let me just draw it so you can see it. Right? This is where we keep getting to and rejecting. Here, right? See how it's resistance here and then breaks, then it becomes support, becomes support, becomes support, support, breaks, resistance, resistance. So this is your level. This is your major level on the XLE. And we're up 80% on oil in a year. It's not sustainable unless we're going to have some unless we're going to have some type of coup here. It's not sustainable. Okay, from peak to trough, the energy sector is up 132%. If you look at, you want to see something really interesting, and I'm not stating this for any reason to be political. This is just simply from when the election happened to now. You're up 86% on an index, right? On a secular index. This might be due for arrest, right? I don't know that we're going to go back. In order for that move to sustain itself, we almost have to go back to when people were buying, in 07, I think it was, where we were, or 8 or 9. I have to go back and look, where we were buying, people were buying those wood burning stoves because oil was 120 and they were talking about it going to 200. 14 3/4 is really the level that you need this thing to be above. You have no chance of getting there anytime soon, right? None. Avoid. Completely, utterly avoid. You've completely broken down. So, hey, everyone, I have to jump here. I got 10 minutes before we open. So everyone, the last piece of advice on the day, be extremely choosy today. All right. See everyone tomorrow. Thank you.